And we have the draft open. We are now on the open land map pool of the Specialist Cup. Once again, signups are still open if you want to learn about the tournament, maybe participate, exclamation mark spec in the chat. We have the admin bans in Land Madness and Atacama. The home maps are Ravines, a map that we've seen quite a bit. Players seem to like them. Same goes for the home map of Chipmunk in Dry Graveyards. And as they banned Higher Ground at random, that's a bit unfortunate. I really like to see that map played for once. Cliffbound and Sacred Springs also taken off by the Penguin, and we have Haboob as the admin pick. Haboob, let's go. No Eagle Sifts though. Yeah, maybe those players aren't familiar with the laming Mayan style of gameplay here. Can't play Haboob without an Eagle? Okay, why is that? Because of the laming? Is that the sole reason for that, or? Yeah, I mean, let's just cover the Sifs really quickly. We are playing all open maps, which means we are looking for Sifs that have great units in the early game, that can play very fast uptimes, that have very great early game economy eco, and we see that reflected in the picks. Hunts can play very aggressively early game. Roman economy, always amazing to go for early game units as well. The same goes for Mongols and Franks. Hindustani counters basically everything. Lithuanians, very fast uptimes. Spear Skirm openings can be very deadly. We have amazing cavalry. We have Chinese, which is probably arguably the best map on Haboob with the 2 villager start as well. Can also play double unit compositions in Feudal Age very well. We also have Magyars, which are one of the most aggressive civilizations in the game. Malians can also compete on those settings very, very well. And we have Cumans. I think Cumans is a little bit of a weird one. If we want to try 2TC, then I'm not sure on which map we would most likely do so. But as we touched on in the first series we saw today, Cumans can, with their cheap production buildings, they can go for double stable scout opening to have a very big punch, go for like 4 to 5 scouts immediately with double stable, or they could just play scouts into archers, also a very aggressive opening that they could do right away. Yeah, Ravines is a very likely map for humans, because with the outposts, you're going to see the map potentially. With the outposts that you start with, it's very hard to actually put aggression forward without your opponent spotting that from a mile away. But let's just not waste any more time. Let's jump right into game 1. I'm loading up the games and we are going into game 1. It's going to be Haboob. Probably one of our base favorite maps, like judging by his reaction in the chat. Let's go right into the game. We are on one of the favorite maps of a lot of players. We are on one of the shortest rush distance maps in the tournament. We are on one of the most aggressive maps in the tournament. You cannot wall towards those sides here. You won't be fully safe here. You have a choice to make. Do you want to go for lumber camps in the middle, but that's more exposed for like pressure through the middle, or do you want to go for lumber camps to the back, but they're even harder to defend? We have here Perilous Penguin on the Hunts, a very strong civilization. Of course, if games get messy, if you fight a lot, you tend to maybe forget to build houses and suffer from a lot of idle time. With Hunts, that will never going to be any problem, because Hunts never have to build houses in the first place, so that could be considered a very strong bonus for some messy maps, especially if you consider this to be the first game of the day potentially for that player. Especially in lower elos, the Hunt bonus makes even more of a difference, because builds won't always be as tight. We do go for an early Warlord for the Malians player here. He just decides to not even... Well, if you go for the boar early to maybe play against laming, I think you should definitely try to take the Rhino in the front. I think that would have been the way better choice. His scout is going to find this Rhino potentially, and these 2 sheeps as well, so maybe he could try to lame this, because the scout of purple has already roamed around here. We did not spot the sheep, we only spotted the Rhino, and now we have a choice to make for Chipmunk. He just passes by, he's missing the sheep as well. We are pushing deer, we are bringing in the Rhino at the same time. Oh, this is very hard to deal with in lower elos. The villagers are scattered in the TC, we focus down the Rhino first, and only then we are going to go for the deer. That's very nicely done, very well played by Penguin here. And we are laming, we are doing it. We are sending the scout forward. The Rhino spawning forward can be very deadly. We're blocking it right now with the sheep. I'm not sure sure if that's intentional. And Chipmunk is going to have 3 boars to his name compared to Hans 1. That's a swing of over 600 resources here, and that will definitely play a huge part in the game. Debatable if it's very sportsmanlike to lame in a show match, but then again, it is part of the game. People want to display what the maps are all about, and I think going for those short distances between the players is putting that on display. We are not risking anything on getting our board lamed as compensation. We are putting that in right away. Very nice adaptation here, making sacrificing a little bit of rotting time to make sure that the ratio will be 3 rhinos to 1. The idle time is only 6 to 9. That's very impressive considering we did a little bit of laming and a little bit of deer luring as well. Idle TC time very much kept to a minimum here, which is very impressive, because the start of this map, especially with laming, isn't that easy. Maybe Chipmunk got Loom, I'm not sure, let's see. He does not have Loom, it's still plus 0/0 and it's still only 3 attacks, so he didn't even get Loom during that time. Now we are looking for the goats, we are going to find them, are going to send them back to the TC as we are already luring in the last year. Not going for that much scouting intel right now, we haven't even scouted, I mean, on those map generations, you don't have to scout where your opponent is, because it's pretty clear he's going to be on the other side. But I think he's looking for his boar. This villager is just desperately running here, and maybe he's going to realize, okay, maybe I dropped the ball on this one. He didn't think that that was would happen. Why does purple have 1 more will? We don't have Loom. We don't have a kill. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure what happened there. But for now, we have 18 builds to 16. Okay, we have a little bit more idle time, but that's only a 10-second difference. That's a little... Oh, maybe what happened is, it's not idle TC time if you researched and then cancelled. If you researched Village or Loom, and you were halfway through Loom, and then you cancelled it to put a villager in the queue, then does not count as idle TC time. That's probably what happened. He tried to do Loom and then he cancelled. That's what happened. We do see Feudal Age coming in after Loom with 90 villagers. That's a very standard uptime for the Huns. Early Feudal Age, and we are reaching Feudal Age before. Does Chipmunk go FC here? Does he just go triple rhino into FC? Oh, this could be ugly. Do they only focus on one sheep? Yeah, that's a little bit messy here. Yeah, sheep micro is always annoying to do, but I think he's figured it out. It's a little bit much here, but I think he wants to go for FC here. He's like, okay, you won't be pressuring me as much. You only had 1 rhino, so you're probably slowed down a lot here. So maybe I can just justify going FC myself and play towards the Malian strength, because Malian really start to pop off in Castle Age when they potentially get the fast ballistics, when they can potentially play with knights, with camels. Camels obviously always a good choice against Huns. Usually against Huns you wanna try to deny them their like smooth transition to Castle Age, because Huns' strength also lie in the Castle Age, because obviously you have all the generic units like knights and stuff, but what you also have is access to your cheap CA, so Huns all usually favored for going for a smooth transition to Castle Age, but if you don't have boars, if your opponent has that much of an advantage, he might just try to go to Castle Age faster himself when the CA spike does not yet play a role in the game. What I like that Chipmunk's doing is he is already seeing his opponent hits Feudal Age. His immediate reaction is going to be to wall off the SWOT line to deny any pressure from coming in, because of course his goal is trying to be safe, and we are heavily on stone. We have 7 wills on stone. This is FC into Castle Age, and then potentially FC into Gebetto. We have seen FC Gebetto sometime. It's getting more and more popular as a strategy. We even saw it in some pro games recently. If this isn't to sell the stone to click up or to potentially like do something in Castle Age, this is going to be fast castle into Gebetto. And I don't think Huns can deal with this, especially if they don't match this uptime. That could be very dangerous potentially. We are walling off the front in a very weird way. We are trying to wall to the gold. Are they saying, yeah, maybe it's that, I don't mind it? I would love to see that. I'm not sure if this was his plan from the beginning, or if that's an adaptive play by Chipmunk to say, okay, I have 3 rhinos, let's just go fast castle. I'm not sure if he wanted to do that from the start. Oh, the villagers opens the gate! The gate is open, the scouts are in. Oh, that's a big mistake. That could throw Chipmunk off of his, and he's probably kicking himself for this. This was so unnecessary. But sometimes villagers are just pathing in a weird way. Like, why would the villager, in order to collect from a new tree, run all the way back here? Like, that just makes no sense. I would be pretty pissed in his position. We lose one villager. Can we save the second one? He is going to be greedy. He's going to snipe it. Do we lose the scouts now? No, we have 2 villagers. And only 3 scouts? That's not much of an investment. You can be very happy killing 2 villagers with those. Of course, that's very, very unlucky for Chipmunk. He is thrown off a little bit about his game. The game's not over. He has clicked up to Castle Age. That's a very, very good time. For the elo we're playing in, this is a very competitive uptime. I'm not sure why Capture Age doesn't... Oh yeah, probably because it loaded up the names of those players again. So we just have to put this here, and this guy was 1-0... No, wait. I'm gonna have to look this up again. My bad. Sorry for the short interruption. We have this guy at this level, and we have Chipmunk sitting at... Oh yeah, he's actually, there's quite an elo difference here. He is exactly 100 elo above his opponent here. Return to map. Okay, let's continue this, and then also I want to see the chat. Nice. I would like to see a barracks just for spears. That will most likely be a good play, especially with Malians. It doesn't hurt your economy that much because you have cheaper buildings anyway. So going for a little bit of a few spears might be the right call, as we see the typical berry overload from what lower elo players tend to do. At a certain point, I think if you go more than 6 on berries, it might be a little bit inefficient because of exactly this. Because villagers are not moving, they're bumping, they're being idiots. That's exactly what they're known for. We are going for a mining camp. We should try to seal the... as long as our opponent doesn't do much, we are committing heavily to stone. Oh, that is crazy. Does Penguin see this? No, he has no idea what's coming. With the market and with no military in feudal age and with the late click, he should realize that his opponent is trying to go fast castle. We see the market, we see the late uptime to feudal age. He has to know that this is a fast castle, and he can be happy to have killed 2 villagers. And okay, please don't do those walls. I hate it so much. I hate when players wall like this. I mean, I get it. You want to secure this, like this area here. You can't wall to the sides anyway because of the rocky terrain. But this is just, it just looks ugly. It just looks ugly. The scouts are still active. Gotta give him credit for that. He lost the scout. Abananzo a la Edad de los Castillos. What language is this? Is this Spanish? This castle, I understand what he's doing with this. He wants to hide. First of all, he wants to hide it. He doesn't want his opponent to see the castle. That's a lot of villagers. Holy crap. Like, at this castle, it gives him access to the safe woodline and the gold, and he hides it from his opponent. But yeah, this is MBL walling over here. Like, this, I really don't like it. The castle will definitely go up, and he doesn't show it to his opponent. I think that's very smart, because FC Malians isn't something that anyone would expect. So in that case, I really like the castle. And now you can go for Geppetto, go for a few of them, they're all producing pretty fast, go for a few of them, and then completely overwhelm your opponent and surprise your opponent. If you send one of those forward now, and your opponent spots it, then he knows you have a castle up, and he knows you probably committed to the Geppetto. So I think this is a perfect castle. I really, really like it the more I think about it. Because if he would pull it here, he could still go back and he would still have the information that his opponent is on the castle. Did he scout the stone? He didn't even scout the stone. Like, he's looking, he's active with the scouts, but he's still completely in the dark what this castle age is about. And now he sees it, and he has to expect, like, he hovered around the base, he didn't see a barracks, he didn't see a range or a stable. Like, even without seeing the stone, I think we should expect a castle being up somewhere. Maybe here, or maybe here, and I think he's looking for this. What do? We are on the way up to Castle Age ourselves. For Penguin, we are going for gold mining, we are going for husband, for bloodlines, and we are going for Castle Age now. Do we see ranges? Yeah, we see one range coming out in the back. I'm not quite sure what the plan is here. For CA, you usually drop 2 to 3 ranges. Sorry, got some hiccups here. And if you wanted to go double stable knights, you should drop a second stable on the way up, and maybe we're just lacking the resources because of all the walling we're doing. And we already, these walls are just wasted resources. Like, these Geppetto will make their way in regardless. Like, all this time and resources he spent walling is just completely negated by the fact that the Geppetto are in anyway now. It's a melee attack. They melt the walls, and only now do we get the information 19 minutes in that this is a Geppetto play. And how does Penguin react to this now? The walling has set him way too far behind. We're only one stable, we are not producing, and now we are producing a unit that we want to mass in order to be effective from one range. We're only now dropping the second one. All these walls should have been 2 or 3 ranges in order to have army and castle age, and that's what's going to bite them. Because now we want to transition to multi-range CA, but now because of the lack of military we are completely pushed off this gold, and we won't be able to produce CA anyway. We only have 1 villager on gold. That's terrible. We can't even queue CA from the second range right now because we don't have any gold to us. And if he just camps this gold and then tries to prevent him from expanding to the other golds, now we're trying to fight the CA, so if the CA numbers are going down, we won't ever be able to mass them now, and we're completely off the gold, and Penguin doesn't have anything. Watch out, flying Kupingas? Oh yeah, that's the name of the Malian weapon, you taught me that, yeah. I've heard it before, and oh no, I don't like this. We should not give him any chance to take this gold. That he's even touching this gold should not be happening. We have to realize this. We have to realize we are going to play against Huns. They probably have to play ranged, some sort of gold unit. The Huns, like Huns on Castle Age, they want to have 2 units. They want to have either Knights or CA. If you push them off gold, Huns' effectiveness in the Castle Age drops by a lot. I'm not sure why we're going to stone now. We sold it initially. Maybe we're trying to go for some stone in order to sell it in order to be able to produce. These villagers should all die if he keeps them here. The CA are microed now. That's nice, but I still think we are way too behind in military production, as we do kill a few other villagers and not allow him to just take any drop of gold here. Now we are going for those vills on the stone. They're exposed. If these CA die and we don't have the possibility to create a few more, which we are doing, fair enough. There's 4 cavalry archers queued, but we're never getting to mass them. And as soon as we have 4 or 5 Geppettos on the field, it's impossible to keep up with the CA numbers if we let them get slide with that. Oh, Leathershag, thank you so much for the raid with 31 people. I was about to cast your set today against Yomi, but I've decided against it because I knew that Nando and Tea Time would be happy to cast that themselves, so I didn't do it today. But I was about to, and I'm so happy I haven't watched it myself. I'm still so happy that we still have your set against Yomi as a show match ahead of us. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you had a great stream. Right now, we are watching a show match for the tournament that's coming up, the Aoe2 Specialist Cup, where you can sign up for any sort of map pool you like. You can sign up for all open land, you can sign up for all hybrid, all closed map, or all water, and we have 4 different map pools, and you can basically turn your tournament into the tournament of your choosing. We see a siege workshop going up in the front, and I really like it. We still haven't gotten to appropriate CA numbers in order to defend this. We are now wisely expanding to the left gold now, because we need gold in order to be effective with the Huns. I don't like that he's going in there and throwing his CA away like this. They are no 2 CA are going down to the Geppetto here. We are seeing the siege workshop, probably a little bit of desperation, trying to make something happen. There's another CA going down. Once again, that's the unit that we ideally would want to mass, but we still lost so many of those already while being completely pushed off the gold, and that GG is called, rightfully so. Very good awareness by Chipmunk. Very cool game. And that's what Haboob is all about. We saw Chipmunk playing the map beautifully. We saw the early lane with the 3rd Rhino because it was spawning forward with a short distance. And then after he took the Rhino, he was like, okay, let's just go fast castle. My opponent is slowed down, he won't having that Rhino. And we just went FC into Geppetto, pushed him off the gold in the front, not letting him get to CA numbers by continuously fighting, continuously pressuring this gold, and just very, 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 very good game by Chipmunk. Also, on the way up to Castle Age, we should have at least like 2 stables or 2 to 3 archery ranges. We decided to go for these very, very weird walls, which really, really delayed his production buildings, and I didn't like that at all. That's why we lost our CA numbers to the Gebetto early. We couldn't match the military. And Arbase in the chat, rightfully so, pointing out lesson is don't push deer early on a lame map. And by lane map, he refers to anything that's wide open with a short distance between the players, because that's what makes laming effective. We are on a map that me personally, I've known this, I think I first saw this map on Hidden Cup 3 actually. The map is Ravines. We see humans and Arbase, you are right, he is going to play humans on Ravines. Makes a lot of sense because you can boom very safely on that second TC because of the outposts around your base that you start with. You have a lot of starting vision. Still, my goodness, vision is not something I'm lacking. Exactly. Wait, did he not know that? Did he just blindly pick humans here? Okay, that's hilarious. Arbase, I know what I'm talking about. I never doubted your point, man. Like, I completely understood your point. I liked it, actually. It makes a lot of sense. There's a reason why I put you on as a caster, by the way. You're very knowledgeable, and you like to share it. Same as me. I'm trying to get there as well. Anyway, let's talk about the map a little bit. It is humans versus Mongols, and the map is Ravines. And Ravines for Mongols is kind of interesting, because one unique feature about this map is you don't start with a war, but you start with this, like, yeah, let's just call it what it is. It is a ravine. There's a reason why this map is called this name. And you don't start with wars, but you start with 2 patches of 5 deers around and very close to your TC. And Mongols, of course, one of the civilizations with the hunt bonus, with the faster hunting, can make very good use of this. I'm not sure if this is the best lumber camp to put down, like this is very towards the front. I would prefer to have that lumber camp maybe towards the back. Maybe his plan is to put a barracks here and wall this off, so he has his production buildings next to his wood line. Maybe he's trying to play it that way. So maybe if that's the idea, I kind of like it actually. And we have the humans over here, which, once again, they can do 2 things very well. They can boom on 2 TCs, play into a very good imp timing and resources, or they can play heavy aggressively themselves with their cheaper production buildings. I'm not quite sure how often I'm going to talk about this today, probably the last time, because humans is going to be out of the equations after this game. But still, yeah, Ravines is another weird map. Of course, it's pretty weird to deal with this ravine. It makes for a lot of, especially if you go early aggression with ranged units, it makes it really tricky to micro here with all the elevation stuff going on. As we see a lot of deer pushed in, and that's something you can do. You don't really have to scout your base a lot because you have the outposts for both players. I can showcase this again. Both players start with basically full vision around their TC. They know where the resources are, so they have time to push in the deer that is straight around the TC. Curious to see if the Mongol player here actually is going for all deer. He has already finished up the whole deer patch to the right. Let's see what he's going. Spaz is saying this map is pain. Spaz, have you played this map recently, or why do you say that? I can imagine this map feeling very weird. I've played it a couple of times myself, and I kind of like it. Like, I mean, for some people it's very inconvenient to not have the board that you're used to. And also, like, the ravines make things pretty weird, and I mean, you can still farm around the TC, by the way. That's one important aspect to touch on. It's not like Sanddrift, which is also part of the open map pool, by the way, where you cannot farm around the TC. You can actually do that here, so that's a very important thing. So you can have a pretty safe farming economy. Deer pushing, and I have 20 EAPM. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's fair enough. But you gotta have some sort of reward for the players, right? Like, you want to have some aspects in the maps in order to reward players if they can do certain things, and I think it's perfectly fine. I mean, if you're not comfortable with this, then this map is not for you, and then you probably should try to either ban it or at least not pick it as your home map. For some reason, we should see this. Oh, that's super unlucky. even with all the outposts, Penguin did not spot these two sheep here. He's still trying to push in the deer. Of course, he's Mongols, it makes a lot of sense. And we see in the resources collected that's going to spike up even more just because he's playing Mongols and taking advantage of all the deer. At some point, he should realize that he's lacking two of the... what is this called actually? This is the goose, yeah. Okay, this is the goose. They're sheep, ostriches, and pigs, I think, and llamas. And I'm always confused between these two. He is pushing the last deer, and maybe he's going to take another circle around the map. Humans are on the way to feudal age, so are Mongols. Humans actually clicking up earlier. I would have expected Mongols to have the uptime advantage here, simply because they're gathering so much food in such a short time. We do see the human 2 TC boom, I would imagine. It doesn't look like we don't, because if we went for military, there had to be a villager building a barrack somewhere towards the front. So I would assume that we are going towards the TC. Now the important thing here, where do we place the second TC? We can't place it next to the stone or the starting gold because of the ravine. Should we maybe, I'm not sure, how much has he scouted actually? Let's look at this. Because vision in order to place down the TC is very, very important. We do, wait, give me a second. Oh, we don't know anything. That might be a little bit painful. What I can see happening is him just going for a TC on the wood line or here on the wood line, and just putting a lumber camp down here then. Ideally, maybe you could reach out to this golden lumber camp, but I think he's just going to put it here, and then, yeah, exactly, that's what's happening. We're going to put down the CC here. This time we are going to pull the woodvilles, which I very much prefer. And a few from berries, he really wants to... I mean, 8 villagers, I guess it's fine. It's a little lot. I usually build it with 6 or 7. 8 is fine too. Not yet picking up double bed eggs. I think we should grab that immediately. But we are building the TC here. In the meantime, the Mongol player is sniffing out the strategy once again, adapting to the play, and I think Mongols is, and that's the unfortunate part, there are some civilizations that are great at going really, really fast castle, that being Mongols and Khmer. That's the two civilizations that come to mind very, very fast, who can just simply adapt to the Cuman 2 TC boom, especially if you're expecting it at this point. And they are so good at going just FC into forward knights and siege, or maybe steps even. Mongol Step Lancers being a very, very good unit, of course. Even though they were nerfed, if you hit Castle Age earlier, they're still a very powerful unit. And we don't see fast feudal from Mongols. We see already up to the Castle Age with all the deer. Brilliant adaptation here. You don't want human eco to kick in too much. So what we're going to do in our base, I completely agree with you. This is the same matchup that I played in TCC against Apache, and she also went Cuman 2 TC. I just went FC with Mongols, and Mongols can reach crazy castle times. I like the Market Edition to make sure that the castle time is even a little bit earlier. And Penguin is going to hit Castle Age around 14 minutes, which is very, very fast. We are going to for the barracks, which makes me think that there will be a stable drop behind this, and then we should definitely, even with the outposts, I wouldn't give a damn. Has he scouted it? Let's see. I think against humans you always look for the second TC. You always look for that, and as soon as you see it go up, you immediately try to punish it. We haven't seen it so far. We can only assume that it's there. If you're a Chipmunk, you should lure the scout away. You shouldn't walk into this direction to show the TC, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's pulling back and being like, yeah, follow me here, in order for him to not spot the second TC. Penguin not chasing anymore. He should definitely hover around this area here in order to spot that second TC. Our base, rightfully so, and chat pointing out forward siege with a bit of spears. I would completely agree with that assessment. We are going... we're a little bit late. That's what I don't like, but these players are forgiven. We are not playing on a very high elo. We are only on one stable. I think that's enough, especially after fast castling. You usually don't have that many resources either. But we are a bit late to bloodlines. The stable should have come up a bit earlier. Same goes for the barracks. Still, we should try to contest this economy. The thing with steps is we have no food eco. I do agree. we have, like, one thing the 2TC gives you is a very safe space, right? Even if you contest this, like, if you push them off berries, okay, that's fine, I guess. That's a little bit of a reward. But with 2TCs, you always have two spots to safely gather from. The gold is reachable from the TC, the villagers always will have space in order to flee. The one point where it might be dangerous for steps to show up is this lumber camp here. Chipmunk does Penguin does not have the vision in order to, what do you mean? Oh, for Penguin I meant, yeah, okay, Penguin doesn't really have food eco, that is true. And he sold, yeah, maybe that build was a bit, maybe a bit ambitious. We only have 2 steps. Oh, this looks like a little bit of an, yeah, the economy doesn't look great, I totally agree with you on that one. We're going for the second lumber camp, which is going to delay our power spike even further. I don't think we should have gone for this. We still have a lot of straggler trees around the TC, and we don't have that many builds on the first lumber camp. If we want to go full castle age aggression, which we should, then I don't think going for the second lumber camp is good. And also, we are putting a lot of unnecessary wood in those houses as well. I know it's a habit to continuously wall off your base, but dropping all these houses, that's a lot of wood as well that might have gone into farms or siege workshop. I think that lumber camp and all those houses are a mistake. That's delaying us too much. Still, Step is a very, very dangerous unit, and he has to look for damage with those now. We are already transitioning to a stable as the humans. We are still in feudal age, so we have that timing with the steps now. We should look for some damage here, and I think that's the first time he's actually moving in. Yeah, that's terrible. We haven't scouted where the second TC is. We see the stable, we see the barracks. We are hitting a barracks for some reason. I'm not sure. He should definitely... Okay, now he sees that this is an unprotected lumber camp area. He should rotate the steps over here and trying to break in here. Steps are one of the best units in breaking into spots like this. Because of the +1 range, you can just camp behind houses and maybe snipe villagers through the palisade. It's so hard to repair against steps. And if he just went... If he had a little bit more balanced economy, if he went for like, that's what I like to do if I play Mongols and I go for this fast castle approach. You go for 6 to 8 lancers, you do forging, and you can break into any fortified building ever. Like, you can easily destroy this gate or those palisades. It's not easy for villagers to repair, because you're just going to hit over the palisade. This spot also might be a bit of a weird one. But if you go for FC steps, what's really important is how clean your build is in terms of food and in terms of timings. And I think right now that we still haven't killed anything, almost 20 minutes in, that's not a great sign. We aren't repairing. I think he wanted to repair. Oh, there was an outpost in the way. Oh, this is huge. The step lancers have found their way in, and once they're in, they're going to cause chaos. We already have 4 vills, 5 vills, 6 vills, 7 vills going down. The step lancers did exactly what I said they have to do, and now suddenly Penguin is in a very commanding position. He's still 12 villagers behind, but still, we are going to kill these defensive buildings. We are on the way to Castle Age for Chipmunk, and as soon as we reach Castle Age, even though human camels don't really scale well into the late game, of course humans not having heavy camels, we are going to have to spam camels out of those 2 stables in order to somehow defend this. Also, we have to first gather a group of camels and then release them, because steps with the +1 range, if they're all together grouped up, they can easily one-shot the camels. And I like that he's taking care of the stable here, because these stables mean, yeah, exactly this. Camels already queued, but he will be limited to only 1 stable production here. And this against 10 with... Oh, he's doing it, he's doing exactly what he should be doing. He's taking out the stable to prevent camel play. He is going for forging, which is usually, if you want to play knights, usually the armor is better. With step lancers, especially with Mongols, forging is great. You take out buildings and units so freaking fast, it's crazy. This entire wood line got already destroyed without having that. These step lancers are a huge pain for Chipmunk to deal with. He still has the 10 villager lead. We are deciding to go to stone. I'm not quite sure what that is for. As we see, hey, the Iceman in the chat. Hi, how are you doing, man? GG's from Season 10, by the way. I looked it up, we did play against each other. We see the second stable. No, oh wait, there's already 2 stables over here as well. We are desperately trying to mass some camels, maybe to stabilize, and the camel numbers are in a decent position now. Also, Iceman, happy to have you on the Discord, by the way. I know I sent you the invitation via DMs. Are you thinking about signing up? I'd be curious if you were. I would love to have you, of course. That stable position is not great, that is true. Oh, and now we take a very bad fight. Now we have enough camels. He did exactly what he should have done. He should have massed camels first and then only then trying to engage. It's still, like the camels even have both of the feudal age upgrades, but so do the steps. But we have so many steps that the camels didn't really find a good engagement here. Like human step launchers are just such a great unit. I've been thinking of signing up. I probably will. I would be so honored if you signed up, because I think you would be a very, very great player to have participate in the tournament. Especially, of course, the more players, the better this first run of the tournament will go. Signups are going through the roof compared to what I expected. The resonance from players, also from the players who played those show matches, has been so great. And now the step launch just killed the market, and now they're in. We see 16 steps against 6 camels. Even though it's camels, these camels are completely going to be decimated. We simply don't have the numbers, and we are playing beautifully about the Mongol power spike. We see iron casting coming in now. We don't have any compensation. This economy at home, while it isn't great, we don't have added NTCs yet. This economy is still untouched, which we can't really say about Chipmunk here. Penguin has done well with the steps. I completely agree. Like, we did get to the steps a little bit late, but now that we have the steps in that mass, and we've already killed 9 villagers with those, that's perfect. That's exactly what you look for. That's perfect strategy, that's perfect execution against the Cuman 2TC boom. I'm not quite sure why we went for 2 scorpions. I think that's either... Why did we go for scorpions? I'm not, like, that's the worst unit you could make against the steps. I mean, yeah, you could try to fire through the mass a little bit in the safety of the TCs, but I still think all that wood and the investment into 2 Scorps, I'm not sure what that is for. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I would have preferred to spend the wood and the gold into maybe some monks, or maybe some transition into pikemen, or even more camels, but like, these scorpions aren't dealing with anything. The steps could easily dive onto the stone and kill a little bit more. I like what he's doing. Take away the vision. Yeah, exactly. Like, one thing you're trying to do with cavalry units, use the mobility and just try to hover around the base. So taking out the outposts eliminates the chance of Chipmunk knowing where this big mass of cavalry is, and he's diving into the gold. Yeah, we have all the map control, we have all the units. Chipmunk is limited to the TC range basically in terms of safe economy, which is why we see a lot of those villagers gathering up. The mining camp is completely cleared. We have 13 villagers killed, and the crazy part about the humans is, even though we killed 13 villagers, we are still 20 villagers ahead, but that economy is way too messy because, like I said, we only have 2 safe spots on the map, which are those 2 TCs. I'm not quite sure what the Scorpions are here for. We are going for steps on our own. I'm not sure if that's the choice of unit. When you have camels, if you go, you just have worse steps. Like, your steps are worse than the Mongol ones, so why are you trying to mirror? Just go for camels at this point. The 2 Scorpions aren't contributing anything. We are trying to build... This should be... Oh, why are we building this on the front? We know that the whole army's here. And the stable is going to be denied. These camels and these scorpions are going to die as well. That's a little bit of a question. But now the weirdness of the map kicks in, because this ravine makes it so you aren't really safe. It's so hard to wall up this entire map, and also the ravines makes it very, very awkward to place your buildings, as we are continuously trying to batter down the stable. And I really don't like the step addition. Those units should all be camels in my opinion, because if you try to mirror a unit that your opponent just does better, you will never reach a point unless you're able to outproduce him. But right now we're not taking the best fight. This was very much up the hill. Maybe we could turn around now. No, we're not deciding to do so. Both players actually even in military numbers, and that's a big surprise to me, because even though we have killed a lot of villagers, the idle time for both players is just through the roof. And now we have a step versus step engagement, and I think Mongols should always win this. Yes, Chipmunk has the second armor, but Mongols have 20 more HP on their units. 20% HP more on the units, and this fight just snowballs out of hand. All the scorpions that we made for no reason are now going down, and now we lost all the map control, and only now are we trying to reach out for a castle. And there's the GG from Chipmunk. I think he wanted to place a castle and then lost all of his army and realized, yeah, I just lost all my map control. He is still a lot of villagers ahead, but this game is just... The steps just completely dominated this from the beginning. Very nice strategy. I think it's a bit unfortunate that Chipmunk had to face Mongols when going for humans, because Mongols is one of the best, if not the best civilization to deal with this 2TC boom because of the fast uptime to castle age, and Penguin played around his civilization beautifully here. Of course, it's lower elo. We could make some more progress towards not spending too much wood on walling up, especially like walling up is definitely the right way to play as a concept. The problem is, if you want to go all in aggression, why should you be walled? Your focus will like, or your game plan is to push your opponent in his face. You want to make him constantly react to you. So why should you wall up? You don't need to wall up if you're going all in forward. That's my point. And in order to all in forward, you need resources which you don't have if you spend it all by walling up. So walling up is not always the right thing to do early if you want to play aggressively. That's the point I wanted to get to. I think I took way too long to explain this, but anyway, it was a very, very nice game, and we are tying the series up. We have very competitive series here. Counter raids can completely kill you when you're all in aggressive, but he should just res wall. Yeah, but the thing is, like, it's humans. It's a human double TC, so you know he won't be Castle Age until like minute 20, maybe 21. And you are reaching Castle Age minute 14, 15. So you know that you have a lot more time than 20 minutes in order to like set up defenses at home. Also, you're Mongols, and you probably have 1 or 2 stables at home anyway, so you can always just defend with monks and reinforcements. Like, do you know how long it takes to wall all of this up? This is like 600 wood. If you just drop one monastery with 2 or 3 monks, you're completely fine. Also, you could have just dropped a second stable and always just defend it with reinforcements, and if you needed, you could just do like... I mean, Mongols get camels as well, so I don't think, like, still all this walling up just delayed your power spike way too much, but you still played it well nonetheless. This is just something to take away. Alright, so we have a tight series. I'm very excited. Let's move forward to the final game of the set. I'm going to, while I load it up, I'm going to let you take a look at the draft, make sure that I get used to doing this properly. This map has been played, the Mongols have won, and the humans have lost. So what do we have left? The last map is going to be Dry Graveyards. I would say arguably the most Arabia-like map of this map pool, maybe next to Atacama. It's very much Arabia-like, but even less wallable, I'd say. The woodlines are smaller, they are a little bit more far away, and it's just a very, very open map. So I would expect something like Lithuanians would make sense. We have 11 relics on the map, so I think Chipmunk has to go Lithuanians. I would be surprised if that is not the choice. But if he tries to go Lithuanians, we have a perfect counter civilization with the Hindustanis, with the crazy camels, faster attacking camels, and of course Imperial camels in Imperial Age. So maybe a Penguin has picked Hindustanis as a counterpick to the Lithuanians. We are gonna have to see. Other options would be to just not get Lithuanians to the Castle Age and snag the relics by playing something like, I don't know, towers with Romans and men-at-arms could also be in the cards here. So I'm not sure what we're going to see. My prediction will be Lithuanians versus Hindustanis, but I can also see some kind of approach where we see Romans versus Magyars, because Magyars can as well can play very aggressively from feudal age forward. Arbis is saying yes, same. I'm not quite sure what you refer to. I would assume that you somehow agree with my prediction. I guess that's what it is. But yeah. Alright, let me load up the game. The civs, or like the civilization choices here just make sense. We are going to see the Hindustanis face the Lithuanians. Lithuanians is the pick for the map, and Hindustanis is the civilization for the matchup, and that's a very interesting dynamic with counter civilizations. Why are the Hindustanis considered, or can be considered, a counter here? Well, first of all, we have a lot of relics on the map that Hindustanis can also make use of. They have the Grand Trunk Road if they choose to research that in the castle, so their relics might be even more efficient too. Also, we have the best, or let's say one of the best camel civilizations in the game. I think once you have Imperial Camel, you have the best anti-cavalry camels in the game. You have that backed up with a villager discount where you save a lot of food. And one thing I love about the Hindustanis, it's one of my favorite civilizations as well, is that... Oh yeah, my scene, definitely. Okay, yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Arbase. It's the second time since I've been casting that this happens. I don't think we missed anything. I think my explanations still hold up. But still. Where was I? It's great to have a reliable mod in the chat, by the way. I can tell already. Yeah, so Hindustanis have the best camels in the game. They have cheaper villagers, which is a bonus that is, and that's what makes Hindustanis such a beginner-friendly civilization, in my opinion, or just a great civilization overall. Is you will always play around, like some other civilizations, in order to play towards their strength, they have to do something very, very specific. Hindustanis, you're always going to take advantage of the villager bonus, right? Like, you will create villagers in every single game, so you don't really have to consciously play around that bonus a whole lot, because you will always take advantage of it by just simply playing the game. Same goes for civs like Romans, for example. Like, you will always make use of the 5% bonus, because you will always have a lot of this. So it's very easy to play towards the strength as well, and yeah, we're going to have to see what Chipmunk's solution is to the camels. Are we going to try to not let Hindustanis get to Castle Age? Are we trying to play a prolonged feudal? They can reach very, very fast feudal age times with the plus 100 food they start with. They can play fast scouts, which is a very popular strategy, especially on open and not so easily wallable maps. What you could also consider, if you scout your opponent's resources and you see that they're forward, like those golds, like the berries, we still have gold in the back, but that's a long way away. Lithuanians can also go for some sort of spear skirm play if they choose to. And the beauty about spear skirm play, especially if your opponent starts with a stable, which Hindustanis are very, very well equipped to do, if you go for spear skirm, you force your opponent into dropping a range and go for defensive skirmishers themselves, heavily delaying their castle age. So it might be worth it for Chipmunk to think about not playing towards his default scouts, but maybe to open spear skirm, usually a very, very slow unit, but with Lithuanians, of course, they are faster, so maybe that might be the way to push your opponents off barrier, force them into a second range, not make the way for Hindustanis so smooth towards those Castle Age camels. Maybe that's an approach I would certainly come up with. I think Spear Skirm is good if you're comfortable with it. Arbase, I love Spear Skirm. Like, the range and the skirms you force out of your opponent, especially because in lower elos everyone's playing scouts, is just crazy value you get, especially against civs like Berbers or some civs that usually want to play towards Castle Age. It's just such a good opening if you feel comfortable with it. Because usually if the map can, like, Spear Skirm is only really bad if you have very safe resources, or if you are, like, if your map is very easy wallable. Only then is Spear Skirm a really bad strategy, but in this case it's very open. Spear Skirm can't really be contested in early feudal age. You will always kick your opponent out of every resource you choose to, and it's not so heavy on your economy. You can play Spear Skirm and still go for double bit and horse colors still. I really like the opening, but let's not talk about that for too much longer. We are up to feudal age for both players. Chipmunk is going to be there a little bit earlier. Spear Skirm, I feel, is too technical to play. Just will fight and keep your strat. I do agree, the lower the elo, the more successful you feel in your comfort picks and in your comfort build orders. As we do see a small lane, he's sending the sheep towards the wood line. This sheep wants to become a chopper, and will be converted back, sent back to the TC, I would imagine. We see two sheeps at the same time. That doesn't really matter. Let's not talk about it too much. We see the barracks coming up, of course, nice in the front, kind of walling off and protecting the golds a little bit. I do like not opening scouts so you don't give purple a fast track to camels. Yes, that's the next point. This matchup is all about not making Hindustanis have their smooth transition to Castle Age and to the camels. Like, either you force them to play heavily in Feudal Age, or you're playing a comp and units that it's not really comfortable going camels into. That's the two, and that's exactly why. Me personally, I would always open Spear Skirm on a map like this in this matchup. Maybe that's just personal preference, but I do think it makes a lot of sense. We do see the stable. I'm trying to not sound disappointed. Like, lower elo players, they just love their stable. It's easier to execute, it's an easier build order, it's easier to micro, you have the mobility, and you can just create a lot of chaos. You have fast spears, so keep up with the camels though, that is true, but the thing is, camels are still a lot faster. Like, the Lithuanian bonus makes them faster, and I think it makes and makes them faster than 1.0. I think it's 1.06 or something. I mean, it's noticeable, but it's still a slow unit compared to a camel. Like, it doesn't change the fact that it's, in its core, it's still a slow unit, and if you are heavy on spears, the Hindustanis can, like, they're not forced to go into camels. They can just go free TC boom as well, right? Like, Hindustanis is one of the civilizations that you can easily just drop free TC and boom because your villagers are just so very cheap. And if your opponent decides to go forward with some sort of knight play, you just boom with monks. Or you go for the camels. If your opponent goes crossbows, you go for something like, yeah, I don't know, Magnus or Scorpions. Like, you don't have to always play heavy camel in early Castle Age. That's not what Hindustanis is about. I'd rather open one range expo, make them get skirms, and then at Knights in Castle Age. Exactly. You force them into a range and try to make them play with a unit they don't want to play. That's exactly what my approach would be as well, which is why I once again wouldn't have started with the stable. This is the real play? Yeah, exactly. I would agree with that suggestion as well. What I don't like, as we see the first scout engagement, for now there's no spear in there, but that might change really quickly because we have 3 faster Lithuanian spears. Oh, can we wall this? We should garrison. Now doing so, can we wall this? Oh, damn it. A house here, maybe a gate here, and all these scouts would be dead. Unfortunately, we don't have the APM for that. I think he thought about it a little bit. But no, this is a heavy spear production. Both players doing well in realizing that it's going to be a scout mirror, adding the spears, Purple even sending it forward. Now Chipmunk realizing he has the numbers, but if he puts those spears forward, he should... Okay, what Penguin should be doing, if he sees the 3 spears going forward, he should try to circle back, because the spears will no longer be here to defend this economy. I think these spears are way out of position here. Unfortunately, he is not going to capitalize on that. Also, we still have the spear at home as Scout is going down. And especially in Scout Spear mirror matches, as we once again see MBL-like walls shaped in an egg. Like, look at these walls. I'm not going to say what this resembles in shape. Oh, we have a hole in the front as well. Maybe he realizes this, then he should fix this as soon as possible. Oh, I really don't like those walls. Come on, that's full MBL. That's full MBL style here. We didn't even finish this. Yeah, this is very weird. Anyway, what I was talking about. If you play Scout Spear mirror matches, suddenly APM becomes a whole more important because whoever gets more spear hits will kill more scouts and will be in the better position. Like, spears and scouts are just such fragile units. It's not the worst. What do you think? Not the worst walls? Yeah, I mean, you can always wall worse. Oh, we should seal this up! Can we do so? I mean, no, there's a spear. It's fine. It's actually a bait. It's actually good for him that these scouts ran in here. We are going to clean all of those up. Ah, unfortunately, the hit from the spear didn't come through here. We are... Yes, R-base, that's exactly what I meant. We are, like, I'm specifically talking about this section that I really hate. Because, first of all, this would have been way less of an investment. Plus, we would have secured this relic as well, as a small little bonus as well. We still have to plug this hole. Maybe we just drop a gate somewhere here to let the units in and out. Also, we're going for heavy walling over here. I think players are just heavily feeling the need to be safe early and being afraid of... The thing is, you have 3 spears, just put 1, like 3 villagers is way too much. Like, these 3 vills, all the walking and building time could have been prevented. Just let 1 villager wall off the side, and if you are afraid of the scouts, go for 2 spears here and 2 spears here, and you're completely fine, and the other 2 villagers could have done something else in the meantime. Also, you have to be very careful. This is going to be overchopped very, very soon. I don't like 11 villagers with this on small wood lines here. We should try to maybe relocate this, as we once again see people go towards stone. Both players click Castle Age at approximately the same time, and we are going to see the relic minigame in the Castle Age. I would assume it's going to be knights. Knights, spears and monks against camels and monks, maybe adding a few spears ourselves. Maybe we might even be thinking about the pikeman upgrade, because we already have 4 spears in position. We do have a market. We sold the stone in order to get up. We also sold 100 stone on Chipmunk's side, so both players prioritizing the castle age very, very greatly here. And maybe Chipmunk is also thinking about Lytus, but only sending 2 to stone seems kind of random. Like, if you go to stone for Lytus, then you should send more of them here. Especially, you have 60 villagers with wood, which is way too much. Like, this is very inefficient, and this lumber camp is overchopped. Like, all the walling you did is basically, like, negated by the fact that you're going to overchop all of this. Maybe he is trying to wait in order to drop a TC to not be a need for a lumber camp. And now we are dropping a second stable, so we are going to play heavily into knights and monks, which once again is exactly what Lithuanians will do, or wanna do. I'm sorry. Workball is in the chat. Welcome, welcome. Both players have the ring of their sweet Sound of Castle Age. Of course, as to be expected, we are already dropping the monastery. Not a big surprise there. We are Lithuanians after all. We want to go for those relics. I really hate this. Please just buy some wood and go for a TC here. Or on any wood line. I can't look at this anymore. He does a nice job of realizing that this is going to be overchopped and walling behind it, but the villagers are already running everywhere. What are we doing here? Are we already queuing camels? Yes, we are. I would be anything else would have surprised me greatly. We have added the second stable and the monastery as well. That's the typical Lithuanian game. One thing I hate sometimes is when the opponent Civ makes you forces you into a specific minigame or playstyle. Like, for example, once you play against Lithuanians, sometimes you have to throw your whole game plan out the window just because you can't allow them to get relics. And that's exactly what we see. Maybe we wouldn't have seen Insta Monastery or 2 stables if we weren't up against the Lithuanians. Maybe our initial game plan was to be a little bit more boomy, to play a little bit more towards, like, going defensively in the economy, but no, because our opponent plays one certain civilization, we kind of now have to contest the map ourselves. These camels are already scouting, trying to hover around these relics. Of course, the spears are going to turn this fight around in the favor of the camels. And that is why in Cavalry Mirrors, who gets earlier to spears is often in a very, very commanding position, because that will allow you to assert the map control you need to take control of the rest of the map. We are going for foraging and husbandry. I would have preferred him to go for armor first, because camels already deal a lot of bonus damage anyway. Like, the +1 won't make that much of a difference. The +1 armor, however, will make sure, especially with the faster attacking camels, that we apply this bonus damage more often. Same goes for getting armor. Rbase in chat completely agreeing with me. In this case, the armor would have been a lot better. Yes, this is nice for Chipmunk, because we lost a few camels to the pikes. The first monk is coming out. Is it the first? No, we already have a monk here standing behind the church. And there's already one relic in there, and yeah, Chipmunk already in a very good position. The second monk is over here. This monk is trying... Oh, there's 4 relics on this side. It's going to be very hard to keep tabs on all of them. Bergwin raided with 5 people. Hello, I hope you had a great stream. I saw you streaming earlier. I actually passed by for a few seconds. We are in a very close series. On the Specialist Cup, of course. And one of our show matches. We are on dry graveyards on the open land map pool, and both players had similar castle age time in the Hindustanis versus Lithuanians. Ended with a bang. Oh, I'm happy to hear. Yeah, it's great to have so many great streamers around. We are playing the Lithuanian minigame with the relics instead of booming, of course. We are killing the monk. Very nice job. And at this point, if your opponent has a lot of pikes in the field, it might even be worth to think about just going for a few light caps just to control the relics, more so than trying to kill the knight, because the spears will always just kill the camels anyway. Oh, he missed this. He just walked right past the relic. So the turkey. Oh no, we're trying to convert all. My voice is dying. I'm sorry. I apologize, but we have more numbers for Penguin, and of course, monks and cavalry mirrors are sometimes a huge shift in power. As we see the second TC for Lithuanians going up, he's first to get to that second TC. Obviously, with Lithuanians, it's a little bit harder, a little bit easier to keep up initial villager production when the TC goes up, because as soon as the TC goes up, you basically get 2 villagers worth of food for free, so you won't have that much danger of running into idle time. Meanwhile, Penguin putting a lot of emphasis on that one relic. One thing I'd like him to do is put one scout, this one scout, put it next to this relic or any relic that's left on the map just to be able to control it, because monks don't deal any damage, and the scouts with their resistance and bonus damage will always be able to singularly, like by themselves, have control over that one relic as long as the opponent is only going there with one monk, which is obviously what we're trying to do. The relic distribution is Lithuanians already have four relics, and that's exactly why we picked them here. There were 11 starting relics spawned on the map, and Lithuanians are already playing with +4 attack on their units, and that's just crazy. That's why Lithuanians are S tier. We still have the opposing civilization being Hindustanis. We still have the crazy camel civ on the other side of the map, so the +4 might not be as much of a powerhouse as we might be used to. But we are having a 7 villager lead as well. We did go out for the relics, and now we're trying to bring this back. They're walking a bit slow because they are grouped with the spear and with the monk. We're going to see a very heavy engagement here if we aren't careful, and this engagement might decide greatly how this game is going to go. Chipmunk is realizing this. He is going in. The monk is under attack. He should drop the relic, try to convert. He's very late at that. The camel's engaging against the pikes, and he's getting completely cleaned up. We did convert, we did fight with the pikes against the camels, we just realized that this fight was going to take place. Complete disaster here for Penguin in that case. We also get the wheelbarrow, we get the infantry armor upgrade, so we are going to go for some sort of pike play. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. You have the relics now, you know your cavalry is going to be your main unit. Your opponent's Hindustanis, he will go for the camels. Pikeman it just makes sense here. And it's going to be very, very dangerous for Penguin to take care of the pikemen, because I don't think we can afford to make any sort of elite skirm switch in the near future. We are dropping a university. I hope he's not trying to play skirms. Playing skirms here would set your economy back by so much. Like, the rangers are expensive, the skirms are putting in resources as well. Then you need E-skirm, which is a very expensive upgrade. You need the armor, you need Vodkin. I don't think skirms are the answer. We should just try to boom. Pikes is not a great aggressive unit as long as we don't have a castle forward in order to fight with a position, as the knights are in, the monk should convert. The camels are finding some engagements against the pikes, getting a lot of bonus damage on them, but now they're managing to fight against the knights. This is a very, very fragile fight. We are pulling monks for Chipmunk, we are going for a little bit of Lightus. This is still a very close fight. We are trying to snipe the monk should get a conversion, is now doing so. We are going for another monk, very well played by Chipmunk, realizing that the monks can shift the dynamic of this fight. And these camels should be fighting, and all in all, nobody should be too happy or too sad with this fight. We are going to drop a defensive castle. Happy Andy, happy to see you in chat. Liv versus Hindu really hurts. Yeah, that's true in theory, but the thing is, we already have 4+ relics for the Lithuanian player. We have the better economy for the Lithuanian player, and we are already on close to fully upgraded pikemen. We have the armor, we have the feudal and the we have the feudal age upgrades on our pikemen, and we have the better eco. Hindustanis clicked up to imperial age. I think that's a big mistake. Hear me out. What you want to do is basically negate the threat of your opponent's cavalry with the +4 attack with the camel play. The only way you can play with the camels to support them against the pikes is hand cannoneers, but if you go Imperial Age with 60 vills, you won't ever be able to afford all the upgrades. You simply won't, even with the cheaper villagers. I think he's going to be able to go for a few, but I'm not sure if that's what we need. I'm really not sure, especially when the Lithuanians aren't that far behind you. Need second armor for camels? That is true, because armor will be affecting the fights very, very greatly. We are on Lightus and a few knights and pikes. We are adding barracks to the front. We are dropping stables, going for pikemen ourselves. I'm not sure what those pikemen are for, because you already have your anti-cavalry unit. I would much rather, I mean, having Cavalry Rider makes a lot of sense. The monks are out of position, the Lightus are going to engage. Are they going to get a conversion? Okay, one, not too bad. We are fighting the knights, the spears have been out of position for the beginning of the fight. Now the Lightus are going to join these monks. Are they not able to convert? These monks should try to convert if they can. The camels have actually managed to clear out the pike. we have taken the fight before the upgrades came in, and that's probably why we lost the fight so hard. That's a big mistake. Now all the upgrades are going to come in while we don't have any units to apply them to. We should have waited for Heavy Camel and Iron Casting, and two Icemans point in the chat the armor as well. Like, this Iron Casting should have been the armor instead, and we should have waited for the upgrades to come in before we take that fight. And now we see exactly what Tea-Time would want to see. We have the forward castle, we just want to fight with our army, we have the map control. That's the perfect time for the forward castle, especially when we're close to hitting Imp, which we just did. And the thing is, the opponent's also on a castle, so he might just start trap production earlier, but that doesn't matter. We have the army and we have the hill. Wisely decides to put the castle a little bit more back, and yeah. You see what these walls do, right? Yeah, I don't think we have to comment on that anymore. We need help now? Yeah, I completely agree. We try to fight with upgrades now. Imagine we had all the camels that died before with our camels in this fight now. And I think this fight is going horribly wrong because we're simply missing the numbers due to the poor early engagements that we took. And right now, it's just all blue, like we are trying to spam the camels. I think this castle is going up. I think Penguin is trying to snipe the villagers, but the villagers are still sitting at the foundation in numbers. We are losing some units. The camel's desperately trying to deny this castle. Once this castle goes up, we're in big trouble. We are in big trouble. We still have space towards the back, but we are calling the GG. We took the worst fights. 2 or 3 times in this game, we took the worst fights, we desperately tried to make the fights happen, and Lithuanians once again showing why they are just that great of a civilization on this map. Because in Castle Age, yes, you are lacking Blast Furnace and Imperial Age, but if you get fully upgraded with Iron Casting, +4 on top, if you fight in Castle Age, that's a huge difference. Like, Lithuanians should win the game if they have 4 relics. That's where they're picked here. That's, viewers in the chat, if you want to play this map, you have to find an efficient solution against Lithuanians, or the better option, in my opinion, just straight up ban them. Spaz says you only need 2 relics. Yeah, but if you have, I mean, to compensate for Blast Furnace, you need 2, but you're only needing that to compensate for Imp. If you are Castle, you get the attack upgrade from the Blacksmith, and you can stack 4 on top of this towards the generic value, right? So in theory, in Castle, it's a +4 compared to generic Castle Age units. It's like it's +4. In Imperial Age, it only becomes +0. So this was +2 attack, +4 in Castle Age. So it was +6 here. We should see +6 in the latest, yeah. And because the camels weren't upgraded when he took the fight there, he completely got demolished. And yeah, he gets rewarded for that, and Chipmunk wins this series. Honestly, very, very entertaining series, very entertaining set. I love the map pools we have, I love the format, and I think both players enjoyed playing this, I can imagine. And it's cool because I can just always cast different things. Like we had a closed set before, now we have had a set of full open maps. And I think we put on display very, very nicely what all these maps and map pools are about perfectly. And of course, I won't leave you without a little bit of advertisement, !spec in the chat if you're not signed up yet. These were only show matches to show what this tournament is going to be all about. Of course, there's no entry fee. All ELOs can sign up. You're going to play against players around your ELO as well, so there isn't any like huge discrepancy going on. Yes, you can sign up for any type of map you want. Bergwin is saying, I know someone who still needs to sign up. Do you? And who would that be, huh? Yeah, no, and the idea of the tournament has been greatly received by all the other communities, all the other people I've told it about, and players just have a lot of fun playing on their favorite kind of maps. And oh, you mean Arbase? Oh, I would be so hyped to see Arbase signing up. Arbase, when he was in the casting booth with me earlier today, he told me that he isn't really a specialist on the closed maps, even though he has a set against Harry coming up tomorrow. By the way, I'm so much looking forward to the set tomorrow. Like, I can't wait to watch that. I think the problem with Arbase is, even though he's not a closed map specialist, he will sign up for closed only to be able to spam the Zong games.